Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on bogradio.fm. Good Thursday to you. Good Friday to you. We're going to take a look at the NFL's Week 15, and we're going to talk about the upcoming week, Week 16 in the NFL. Had a lot of crazy things happen. Once again, it's a crazy year. It's an exciting year in the NFL. We're going to talk about it all, as we always do every week here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And we're going to be joined later on by Antoine, hip hop artist, Antoine A.S. Stewart, as well as Aaron Too Tall Moore. You are listening to bogradio.fm, and also a shout out to KCHFTV11.org in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we can be heard every Sunday, heard and seen every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Mountain on KCHFTV.org, and every Monday through Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on bogradio.fm. So, with all of that being said, and with no further ado, let's take a look at some of the finals from NFL Week 16, going back to last Thursday night, where we watched what we thought was going to be an extremely exciting, high-scoring game, and it turned out to be pretty much of a yawner between two teams that were trying to take control of not only their playoff destinies, but the NFC West. And that was the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. And it was an ugly game, 12-6. It did not live up to expectations. And the Rams pulled it out. I think the 49ers are effectively done after losing this one. Brock Purdy was not able to rise above the downpour. It's like 55 degrees and a downpour, and you guys can't play football anymore. So, you've been spoiled by playing indoors and, of course, out there in California. So, anyway, that was the final score. Rams 12-6. The 49ers are done, I think, effectively at this point. I think you can say they're probably done. The Rams, however, are a team you do not want to see more than likely as the playoffs are starting in about 3 weeks from now. And if the Rams win their division, a team like Green Bay or Minnesota will have to go there and play. And that's just not going to be a place that you're going to want to go to. But Rams looking good. I mean, Puka Nacua is playing, healthy. He's effective as all outdoors. Cooper Kupp, healthy. And then, of course, you've got the all-pro Matt Stafford, who's just slinging the ball all over the yard. The Rams are a real problem. But this was an ugly one last week. 12-6, though, the Rams do get the win. The Chiefs, 21-7. Patrick Mahomes gets hurt in that game. But he was cleared today to play on Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about him later. And as I speak on that, we're going to welcome to the show Aaron Too Tall Moore. Aaron, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, Mo?
Doing great. Talking about Patrick Mahomes being cleared today after getting injured against the Browns 21-7 last week. And I guess the question would be, should the Chiefs maybe want to sit him down? What would you do in this case? Would you let him play? I mean, this is a playoff team in the Texans. Would you play him or sit him?
I've been thinking about this all day, too, because they've been talking. This has been a conversation on First Take, ESPN, Get Up this morning. I think I would sit him.
Okay.
For this game.
Yeah.
Now, only reason I would sit him this game is because that Texans front is serious. And you don't want to get him. Of course, we know the value he brings to that organization.
Right.
And I think they are capable of winning or winning a game without Patrick Mahomes. Even though it's the Texans, they fighting to keep that playoff run going.
Right.
But that ankle and that and you already know you're in the playoffs. I'm not sure if they secure a home field yet, but I'm sure they thinking about that home field advantage. But
right.
I would sit them for this one.
It's a catch-22 because I think the Chiefs are sitting there right now at 13-1, and then the Bills are right behind them at 11-3. Right. So now you go out there and you lose this game. You're 13-2 with one more big game. I think they finish with the Steelers. Okay. Let's say they lose that one hypothetically, and the Bills win their next two. They're tied at 13. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, they're tied at 14-3. I believe that's how it would shake out. And the tiebreaker, long story short, if they end up in a tie, it's going to go to Buffalo. So you don't want to play with that. You don't want to go to Buffalo.
They don't
get to the Super Bowl.
They don't want to go to Buffalo.
So I kind of get the Chiefs' mindset on this. Like if Patrick says, I can go and I want to go, I get it. I mean, this thing's not over, is what I'm saying. It's just not over. And you look behind Buffalo and you're looking at the Steelers. I don't know. I mean, the Steelers are like what? I think they've lost 5 games now at this point. They might be 10-5 or 10-4. I don't know where they are. I'm looking at Buffalo. I'm just saying. I don't want to deal with Josh Allen at his crib.
I don't, but I would say this. The way Buffalo is playing right now, and they already beat them once, I would rather a healthy Patrick Mahomes on the road than a banged up, limp Patrick Mahomes at home.
Very good point.
That's his bad opinion.
No. That's why I say it's a catch-22. You know what I mean? Which way can you go? There are pluses and minuses on both sides. So
remember what he did a couple years ago with that ankle, and he still was effective.
Dude, let me tell you something. I don't ever count Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs out. I have learned not to do that. That guy is resilient. He's tough. He's talented. Matter of fact, he rises to every occasion. Even if he had to go to Buffalo, I would still go with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This year seems a little bit different, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just seems like this may be Buffalo year if they face them. Even though the Chiefs, the record, they only lost 1 against Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they squeaked past another, but it just, to me, it seems different. I'm just looking on the outside. It feels different. If the Chiefs faced Buffalo, it may, not saying it will, I'm just saying I have more confidence in the Bills this year than I did in the past. I would say that.
Well, I'll just say I love Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. I love the fact that he just goes for it. I'm not a proponent of the way he plays, however, as much as I love the way he goes for it. I don't think that's something. You remember this thing I was telling you about? Dude, he's one big shot from being laid up in the hospital. And I think Buffalo relies on him too much. Their defense isn't very good. They don't have a really consistent running game. And I'm not that enamored with his receivers. Yeah. Josh Allen's winning these games. And so I get it. I mean, he's doing his thing. He's playing hero ball to the max. Okay. But I don't know if that's sustainable against a team like the Chiefs. Be totally honest with you. I don't know if that's sustainable against Baltimore and Pittsburgh, dude. Yeah. I don't know about I don't trust Buffalo against any of those teams I just named.
Mm.
I'm not saying they can't beat them, but the way they have to win games, I don't think is good.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's good, but it's going to be fun. I mean, for as long as Josh can stay healthy, it's fun. And you know, but he's one big shot away from that, you know, that hospital visit. And so anyway, we'll see what happens with that. The rest of the games last week, we had the Bengals over the Titans 37-27. And that's another thing. You don't want to see the Bengals slip into the playoffs backdoor.
No,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't want to deal with them coming to your place. If you think about this year and you look at what Joe Burrow and the Bengals have done, and I know they're 6-8. I get all of that, and their defense is disgustingly bad. But if you look at the Chief game, I think week 5, they had them on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, and help me out on this, I believe they had Pittsburgh on the ropes. I want to say they had, I don't think they played Buffalo this year. Oh, Baltimore had them on the ropes. I think twice they had the Ravens on the ropes, and then they were able to get out of there. They weren't able to finish it, and it's like barely. So I'm just saying, dude, that's a team you don't want to see. And I think this weekend they have a fairly easy game. You look at this Titan game. I mean, you give 27 points up to the Tennessee Titans. That's the Bengals' problem.
Yeah, it is. It is. That Titans offense is horrendous.
And as we say that, we welcome to the show hip hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart. What's up, Stu?
Stu.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey,
having some technical difficulties, but I'm here.
you made it, man. You're here. So we were talking about the Commanders and Saints, Too Tall You and I, before we came on live, and there was some controversy there. The Saints tried to cheat for all intents and purposes. Break down what occurred during the final moments of the Commanders and Saints.
Well, the final moments was the Saints was driving. They got it down to the 2-yard line with 10 seconds left. And everybody watching that game was thinking the same thing. The game is clock. The time stops on 8 for like 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds. It didn't run. And they spiked it with like 2 seconds left.
Okay.
They scored a touchdown, they go for 2 and they don't get it, and we win. But if you jump back to the first half of that game, it looked like we was running away with it.
Yeah.
It looked like it was about to be a blowout. And it looked like the Zebras didn't want that day. It looked like the NFL didn't want that because we got second half 2 roughing the passing penalties that was very, very screw it. They was not roughing the pass. It wasn't roughing the passer. They kept drives going. It was obvious. Everybody's talking about it. It was obvious they was trying to keep the Saints in the game as much as possible.
Yeah.
Why? Don't know. But the NFL came out with a statement. They didn't say anything. They know they screwed up, but they didn't say anything. But it comes down to it. We got the victory, and that's all that matters. But it still shouldn't have been that close, though.
No, because last time I checked earlier in the day, you guys were like at least 2 scores ahead, and then all of a sudden it comes down to a nail biter. So that's on Dan Quinn for allowing it, I think, to get that close. The Commanders need to be careful here. They're sitting at 9-5, I believe, and they got the Eagles coming up this weekend.
You know what? But
yeah,
this game gonna be different. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
We got Lattimore. That Lattimore is gonna change our whole defense. I think he played like 23 to 25 snaps against the Saints.
Yeah.
0 targets. They didn't throw to his side not one time. And Lattimore and A.J. Brown, it's gonna be a good showing, but I think it's going to allow a defense to do a little more things to focus on Saquon and and just basically put the game in the quarterback's hands. But I think it's gonna be a tight showing. That's all I gotta say.
So I'm going to turn this over to Antoine Stewart and just query you on the Commanders' position right now. Like I said, they're 9-5, and currently I think they hold the last playoff spot in the NFC. What do you think about the Commanders and how they are coming down the home stretch of their season?
I think they'll be fine. Sitting at 9-5. As I look at the rest of the league, we know your division, the Packers division, where you got Detroit, Vikings, and Minnesota. I believe all three of those teams are going to make it in. The Buccaneers are in a tight race with the Falcons. They're one game above the Falcons. We know I believe Buccaneers are going to make it in that division. And then the NFC East, you got Philly and Commanders sitting at 1 and 2. I believe both of those teams will make it in. I don't think that the Commanders are in any, have anything to worry about as far as not making the playoffs now that we have 7 teams making it in. So that leaves room for the 3 from your division and, the other winners of the other divisions. Plus, I believe the Commanders will make it in, and an additional team. So I think they'll be okay. That Philly game is definitely going to be tough. Philly, they're rolling high, flying high right now. After beating Detroit and beating Pittsburgh, back-to-back 2 great teams. And them taking care of business. You know how that division goes. That division is tricky. I believe it'll be a good game, but I believe even if Commanders do lose, they don't have anything to worry about as far as their position in the postseason goes.
No, I would agree with that. Baltimore handles the Giants 35-14. The question begs, why are the Giants in the NFL? Dallas 30-14 over the Panthers. Aaron Rodgers bounces back against the Jaguars for the Jets. This is his second week throwing for over 300 yards. I think he's got 6 TDs in the last 2 games, no interceptions. It was the Jags, of course. Houston 20-12 over the Dolphins. Broncos 31-13 over the Colts. And then Buffalo in the game of the day, one of the games of the day, marquee games of the day, they go into Detroit and they kind of bully, even though the score doesn't reflect how much Josh Allen and the Bills bullied the Lions in Detroit. The Lions are in trouble. They have a ton of injuries, and the question begs, can the Lions still win home field advantage with so many of their starters out with injuries? I think they've got 17, 18 starters out. Too tall. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they can, even though they are banged up. I think the way they playing ball, I think they can come out and secure a home. I'm gonna say home field advantage.
Okay, now remember, they got Chicago, which is a no-brainer, but then they followed up with the the Vikings, and I don't know if Seattle. Have they played the Seahawks yet? I think they're going to. I think they have a date with the Seahawks too. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. It's the 49ers in Frisco.
Yes. So now I will say Montgomery, he's out. I'm not sure if he's out for the year, but I know he won't be playing for the remainder of the season. So I think they are. Shout out to Davenport. That's my next door neighbor for the Lions. So I got to give a shout out.
Yeah. Yeah.
His dad is in the house right now, but Davenport for the Lions. I think they can. I think they're gonna be okay. Now, here's the thing. Can the offense help out the defense? What I mean by that, the defense has so many injuries that can the offense sustain, or can the defense get one or two big plays out of a game that allow the offense to go down and change the game with a score? I think that's the key. I think if the defense can step up and somehow and make one or two plays throughout a game, get a turnover to help the offense score more points, I think they're gonna be fine. But if the defense can't do that, I think the offense is going to struggle to shoot out. You don't always want to shoot out, even if your offense is capable. But I believe in Dan Campbell. I believe in the Detroit Lions, and I think they're gonna be okay. That's getting into the playoffs. Now, when we're talking about the playoffs, I think that's a whole different situation now. When they get into these other teams, I think that's a whole different situation. But securing up home field advantage, I think they should be able to do that.
Stu, what are your thoughts about the Lions being able to hold on and win home field with 3 games remaining and a ton of injuries?
I think they have, if we're talking about between them and Minnesota, they have the easier situation to do it. Even though they're banged up. Minnesota, they got to play the Packers. Who they play next week? Minnesota,
they
have the
go to
Packers on the
Seattle.
29th.
I think they go to Seattle first, and then the Green Bay Packers come to see them.
Right. So they got Seattle in Seattle, and then Packers have to come see them, and then they have to play Detroit.
Right.
So it's going to come. That's the big one. It's going to come down to, and then I think Detroit have an easier path.
Yeah.
That biggest game for them is going to be that last one against Minnesota. So I still favor Detroit to go ahead and get that home field advantage.
Yeah.
Now they'll be going against, I think their biggest opponent, to be honest, is Philly, if they're going for that number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Them and Philly are kind of be going back and neck and see who can lock down and secure that number 1 seed. But I think as far as them in Minnesota, it is going to, if both of them run the table until the last game, is going to come down to who wins that game. I don't think Detroit will have any issues with the next game. 49ers could give them a problem depending on how we are. We're pretty banged up. So they should take care of business with us, but you never know. We still got a little fight. You never know what game we're going to show up. But I think they should be okay. But that last game is going to come down to them in Minnesota. Who wants it more? It's going to come down to that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you don't want to have to deal with the 49ers and you have to win a game, because then the incentive for the 49ers becomes, let's just spoil the party, which they're fully capable of doing. And with the injuries that the Lions have, I just don't know if this is the best situation. I love the speech Dan Campbell gave about, look, we got to get back to eating that moldy bread. Sometimes you need to get punched in the mouth to realize that, everything's worth fighting for. It's not always going to be filet mignon. I love his speech, but this is going to be an interesting finish to the season. There's no doubt about that. The Philadelphia Eagles over the Steelers 27-13. They have an opportunity now to lock up that home field advantage. Their last 3 games are not going to, it should not be that difficult. The Cardinals 30-17 over the Patriots. The Bucs over the Chargers 40-17. Now, you go into Los Angeles, and we all thought the Chargers were big boys. And here come the Bucs, who are not someone to be taken lightly, but you don't expect the Bucs to go into LA and just walk all over the Chargers, which is what they did. I mean, the final score 40-17. So having said all of that, to me, it begs the question, if you look at the Chargers a little bit closer, not just this year, but the last couple of seasons, is Justin Herbert a big game quarterback? Too tall?
I'm gonna say he is, because he's a franchise quarterback in my opinion.
Okay.
He is. I just think they just need to build that team up a little bit more around him. But to be compared as a big game, I think there are, I say, a lot of teams beside the top 5 teams in the league that already have a quarterback that would love to have Justin Herbert on their team.
Sure.
You know, so of course he's a big time quarterback. I don't think, if you look at the Chargers, he is totally not the problem. I think this defense need to be upgraded. I believe they need a couple more weapons on the offense, and I think he'll be fine. But yeah, he's a big time quarterback, and he's a franchise quarterback in my opinion.
Stu, what are your thoughts on Justin Herbert? And I know he's a big time quarterback. My issue with Justin now, I'm starting to kind of look at him a little bit side-eyed, because when the lights come on, you know, and the nation's watching, or the game is huge, the Chargers are not winning those games. So so that's the reason I'm bringing this question. In your mind, Stu, is Justin Herbert a big game QB1?
No, he hasn't earned that spot yet. To be honest, Jaden Daniels has earned it more than him in this sense, and this is his rookie year.
Yeah, good point. Good point. That's a very good point.
When the lights are on,
yeah,
as you mentioned, we all know the guy is talented. We know he got a big arm. We know he got all the attributes to be 100%. As great as he can be.
Sure.
But when the lights are on, we don't see that. I don't see. It's another tick that we see in the greatest players that have ever played this sport, and the greatest players that are playing now. You know, Patrick Mahomes has it. The quarterback in Philly has it. Certain guys, they just got this. He may not play his greatest game, but when the game is on the line and he has the ball, you get a little nervous.
Yes.
You know, when certain people have it. We don't really feel that with Herbert. You know, Herbert just kind of gets by off the big arm, and we know what he can do, but he hasn't shown or proven that he can do it at the highest level yet.
Right.
And I'm not even talking about the postseason. I'm just talking about the big regular season games. Yeah. Because he's had times and chances to prove that. And every time we get on the hype train, watch out for the Chargers. You know, he does this, where the offense was horrible. They didn't convert 1 third down. They were 0-6 from third down. They didn't convert 1 third down. And that wasn't the biggest thing. Also, the running game was obsolete, and there were a few other things that led to that. But, you know, we're looking at him. We're looking for him to be great when it matters the most. When the running game ain't working and everything ain't working, and you put it on Herbert, Mr. Big Arm, can you get it done? And he hasn't proven he can yet. We know he has the talent, but, you know, it's another level that comes with that talent that you got to meet, and he hasn't met it in my book.
Yeah, and I think he checks all the boxes. I mean, guy's got great arm. He's a great athlete. He's a big, strong guy. He's got everything. But when it comes down to making a critical drive, to playing a really good team and playing well throughout the game and finishing it. I mean, and I hate to say this about Justin, but I mean, we've seen the Chargers for the last 2 or 3 years, and we've blamed most of it on Brandon Staley, most of which was justifiable. But then you start looking at Herbert's like, look, dude, you got, at one point, the Chargers was the number 1 defense in the league. So what I'm saying is they have a good defense. And when you get a team that can put points on the board, if your offense is doing what they're supposed to do, you're going to win those games. Most of those games you're going to win. And they've had to answer the bell a couple of times this year against some big boys, and they weren't able to answer the bell. And here come the Bucs into your place, and they rearrange your furniture. Go ahead, Aaron.
Can I rebuttal?
Okay.
So I think it's a little unfair to put all this on him. I mean, they not a. If you look at the team as a whole, they're not in my opinion, they're not a complete team. But to me, I just pull up his stats. I'm looking at his stats. I mean, if you look at the man, okay, the Chiefs, right? He was 21-30, 213, and no interceptions, 1 touchdown, passing rating of 101.
Right.
That's a Super Bowl team. If you look at the Ravens, they lost that game. He was 21-36, 218. He had no touchdown, no pick, but he was sacked 4 times. So, I mean, you look at the Steelers, they lost that game. He was 12-18, 125, no picks, a touchdown, 2 sacks.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at his passer rating, 100 passer rating, 90 passer rating, 80 passer rating. I'm like, for me, if I didn't see no games and I'm like, I need a quarterback and I saw these stats, I'd be like, I want that guy. I want him to run my franchise.
Yeah.
Like, so when you have to take, you can't, because I mean, you can't put everything on him, because if you say he hasn't gotten done at the end of the game, okay, what happened in the that put him in this position? Like, did they just go down and do a scoring drive? I seen games where he lead the team down the scoring drive, and then the next series the team come down, they score, and then he come down, get a field goal, and the defense come give up another score, and he kind of like playing catch up. Like, you can't do that the whole game.
Right.
Like, to me, I think he just need better pieces, specifically a better defense, in my opinion. And he really haven't had the opportunities to really showcase. Like, okay, he had what, 1 playoff game?
I believe so. Maybe one playoff game. Maybe.
I think Aaron, like, I agree with you. I think the bigger aspect is when you think of Herbert. If we just say, do we think Herbert is a good quarterback? Absolutely. You know, he's a good quarterback. He can get it done. But when you start to put him in that game, not even a franchise, but they're different levels of franchise quarterbacks. You know, you could be Kirk Cousins is a franchise quarterback. You know, there's different levels to it. But when you put him in that upper echelon, just, you know, that big talk that we all had about game changer versus game manager.
Right.
Like, when you think of Herbert, a lot of people you want to put him in that game changer category that only a handful of quarterbacks are really in. You know, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, even though, you know, Patrick's not having his best year, but he's getting it done. That absolute guy where, look, put it on his back, put the cape on him, he's about to get it done. And I don't think he's stepped into that quite yet. He can get it done and make plays and do a good job, but that next level of play that we see the elites do, that only, you know, like I said, I would put a handful of quarterbacks in the league in that. We kind of want to throw Herbert in that talk, but I just don't think he's ready yet for that next level. I think he's like, not that 1A. I think he's kind of like in the 1C, creeping into that B level.
I would agree with that. And it's food for thought, because I do believe that Herbert is a tremendous talent. I mean, I love watching the guy play. And he's got Aaron Rodgers vibes all over him when Rodgers was with Green Bay and at the height of his career. He's got that vibe all over him. But then you look at these critical games and you just start wondering, can Herbert, you know, step up a little bit more and maybe get a better fit into that hero cape? But that being said, it's just food for thought. I think it's tremendous talent. There's no question in my mind about that.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the rest of the scores here.
I take Jaden Daniels over him, though.
Okay, we look at the rest of the scores from last week. Green Bay who beat Seattle 30-13. That was a great win for my boys in Seattle, going to a tough environment, getting that W. That was a big-time win. The Vikings have to go there this weekend. They knocked the Bears off with no problem, 30-12. Caleb Williams, I feel really bad for that young man because he's a terrific young talent that's got a long way to go, it looks like. And then we look at the Falcons, who've decided to bench Kirk Cousins. And they beat the Raiders, but Cousins threw another pick in that game, threw one touchdown, another pick. I think he barely threw for over 100 yards. So they decided to sit Cousins. Let's hear his response to his benching.
All right. Yeah. So Coach let me know yesterday that going to make a change at quarterback. It's pro football, and there's a standard that I have for myself, that the team has for me, that unfortunately I wasn't playing up to that standard consistently enough, and so it is what it is, and you roll with it, and now you still get ready, one play away kind of a thing, and support Mike, and just try to help our team be able to find a way to win these last three to get in the playoffs, and that's what it's all about. So that's my focus, and take any questions you have.
So you feel bad for Kirk. One thing I love, he's a stand-up guy, though. There are very few stars that can stand in front of the public and eat it like he did. And one thing I love about Kirk, he's a born-again Christian. And it takes a Christian man to do what he just did. And so, you know what? I'm all about the team. We don't see that enough in pro sports anymore, where something unfortunate happens to the superstar, whether he's benched or what if something unfair happened, and just stand up there and say, I'm about the team. Question, was it the right call this late in the year to turn to a rookie in Michael Penix Jr. to finish off the season for the Falcons? Tuto.
I understand why they did it. But do I necessarily agree with it? I'm gonna say no. Even though Kurt was playing terrible, the last, especially with the contract they gave him,
right?
The last 4 games, I would say, his play went down, and I wouldn't say I would put all that on him. I think the offensive coordinator has a lot to do with that as well.
Right.
Making sure he's comfortable, leaning on the running game, but I'm sure they talked about this behind the scenes, but it puts a lot of pressure on Mike. I would say that on Penix.
It does, a ton of pressure.
It's going to show what he's really about. And the thing is, this is why I really don't like this move.
Yeah.
Because if Penix starts to struggle, do you pull him?
Exactly, yeah.
So
now you got massive confusion, yeah.
Now you got okay, he's struggling. The offense is not working. He's not seeing the field like he's supposed to. Do we go back to Kirk? And that's why I don't like it for him. I'm not at practice. They seeing something I'm not seeing. They with this guy every day. They see him every day. So hopefully they feel like they're making the right decision. But I would have liked them to have done this earlier than later. But to me, I say you ride with Kirk. And then now I could understand if you're in a playoff game and you like, man, Kirk, it ain't working. This is it. It's done and go home.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We're just gonna see what happens. We don't got I could understand that move, but to do it now, put this weight on his shoulders. But I see the dynamic it gives you. He can move around a little bit more. He can move out the pocket. Kurt was kind of like a little, he was standing in cement. So it gives, I guess, the offensive court, it gives him a little bit more wiggle room play calling, but I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you. I think I'm a little bit confused because you've only got 3 weeks left, and you have a shot to win your division. You've beaten the Bucs twice already, and the reason I don't like it is because of the inexperience that Penix has, just as a pro quarterback. Now you're throwing him into the fire, like, dude, kid. We need you to get us into playoffs, and I just think that might be asking a bit much. Stu, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't like it. As y'all mentioned, Kurt is the vet. You paid him all his money.
Yeah.
You guys are sitting at 500. You're 1 game behind, winning your division, 1 game to catch up. Why pull him now? And as Aaron mentioned, if you do pull him, you better be 100% sure that backup is ready, because it's a bad look to pull him. The backup struggles and say, "Hey, Kurt, you ready to get back in there? Yeah, he's giving you a little break." Try. You like that? You like that? Yeah. You gotta. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, Kurt is your man. He's the starter. He's the vet. He got all the money. Don't put that rookie in a position to where he has to win to get into the playoffs, and you got Kurt right there. That he doesn't need that type of pressure. And you guys won the game. Shoot, Patrick Mahomes has been struggling for majority of the year. They've been winning games like that all year where he didn't perform well, but they still won. Why can't other quarterbacks do it? Kurt hasn't been playing well for, a good little while, for at least 2 to 3 weeks now. But you guys won a game without him playing well. So, hey, for the last 3 games, I'm going to ride or die with Kurt, and then we'll see what they're going to do moving forward next year. But I would not put that rookie in there, because you don't know if he's ready for that type of pressure, and you don't want to put a bad stain on him, and you don't want the team that's like, look, we're fighting for a playoff position, and you're out here gambling. Like, I would rather put the vet in there. He has a better chance of figuring it out. And as Aaron mentioned earlier, let's look at the offensive play calling. They didn't even throw the ball that much. So it's like, what's going on offensively? How can we get back on track? What is Kurt comfortable with? What are we not doing? What is his take? It's something going. It seems like it's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, because this is not. We're used to Kurt putting up numbers. They may not win the game, but we're used to him balling out as far as stat wise, and he hasn't been doing that lately. So I think they may have a bigger internal issue going on there in Atlanta.
I would agree with you. I think, remember, this is the same organization that told Bill Belichick, nah. So yeah, I don't understand this. You cannot put a rookie in a situation like, I think Penix Jr., I mean, the sky's the limit for him. But this spot for a rookie, I don't get. We're going to switch gears and go to the Power 5 of the league. And I have them as follows: the Eagles, number 1 in the NFC. The Vikings follow, and the Lions have dropped a couple of spots because of the injuries. And I've got Green Bay and the Commanders finishing it out at 4 and 5. Too Tall, your thoughts?
I like the list. I still, even though the injuries, I still put the Lions in front of the Vikings.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, I have no problem with the list.
Stu, your thoughts?
Yeah, no issues with the list. I think, shoot, that's crazy. Your division went off this year. I think that's pretty good. You got the Rams trying to sneak into the conversation, with their right on the outskirts, but I think that's pretty solid list you have.
And in the AFC, I switched over, and I kept the Chiefs at number 1. I just think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. I just got them winning the Super Bowl again. And followed by Buffalo, the Steelers, Baltimore, and Denver. I welcome the Broncos to the big boy table. Too Tall, your thoughts?
I like the list. I know why you got the Chiefs there, because the Bills beat them, but they ain't beat them in a meaningful game.
Right.
Yeah. So I understand that. I mean, to me, them two are interchangeable, but I understand the Chiefs and Bills, Steelers, Ravens. But I think I would put, in my opinion, I think I would put the Ravens in front of the Steelers.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out very
We're gonna
soon.
find out Saturday. We're gonna find out. It's no question.
But I think I like that. I think that like I like the Ravens because I think Lamar needs this game right here. Because the Steelers done had the Ravens numbers for the past couple years.
Oh, they
So
have absolutely have had their
yeah,
number. Yeah.
I think Lamar needs this under his under his belt, just to get over that, just to get it off your back. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, I think the Ravens, I hope they prove me right, but I think the Ravens gonna get the Steelers.
Well, and it's going to be a good game. I think the biggest issue I have with the Ravens, and I throw this question out, are the Ravens failing to use Derrick Henry to their advantage? But first of all, let me go back to the list. Stu, what do you think of the AFC Power 5 list that I have put together here?
I think it's pretty solid. You could play around with the last pick with the Broncos and the Texans. They're both 9-5. You could play with that, but that's a pick 'em type of situation.
Yeah,
But
it's a pick 'em.
I think everything else is pretty much solid. As Aaron mentioned, you know, it's a big game. I don't know if the Ravens are going to beat the Steelers, but I think the Ravens need to beat the Steelers. If the Ravens lose this game to the Steelers, that's a bad look. And everybody's going to start questioning Lamar. They're going to start questioning, is this Ravens team for real? You know, all the stuff that they have accomplished with Derrick Henry and everything else this year will be in question if they can't get it done against the Steelers this week.
It will be greatly in question if they can't get it done against the Steelers. I totally agree with you. For the NFL, the entire league, I've got the Chiefs number 1, followed by Philly, Minnesota, Buffalo, and I got Detroit going down to number 5 only because of the massive injuries they have on that team. Too tall, your thoughts?
I'm not upset with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I still think I put the Bills in front of the Vikings though. If we going it like that, I think that I might even put the Lions in front of the Vikings, but I understand the injuries and all that. But we're gonna see. But yeah, I think the Bills should be third in that ranking, in my opinion.
Aaron is in the Matrix.
Aaron, can you repeat that? We just missed that, brother.
Oh, I said Bills, third, Vikings, and then Lions.
Okay. Stu, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it as well. I would personally put the Bills in front of Vikings. I believe if we think about it, if it was a postseason and we see the Vikings and the Bills, we're gonna go with Allen over Minnesota. Everything else pretty much solid. Chiefs are number 1. They the top dogs. Philly has proven that they are number 1 in the NFC, and I think, as you mentioned, number 2 overall. I will put the Bills next, and then you can toss up between Detroit and Vikings. I still think the Lions, even with the injuries, are going to win that division. I think they're the better overall team. I trust that team more than I trust Minnesota.
Yeah.
But stranger things have happened, and they're going to have to figure out a way to get it done, even with the injuries. And they're going to have to figure out a way. Their coach, he's going to have to stop gambling. He's going to have, I mean, you can gamble a little bit, but he's gambling a little bit too much.
Well, it cost him the game.
I get it. Right.
He cost him the game.
Right. So, and it's not the first game he's cost him. So I think that he needs to sometimes go against the analytics or do something, you know, hey, get the point, get the field goal, take the points, you know, trust your defense, trust your team, you know, all this gambling stuff. It works a little bit, but you know, it's proven not to work for him, especially in the big moments. But I think if he gets that down, they'll definitely make a strong run in the postseason.
The gambling is for Ocean's 11. Let's switch over to Thursday night football
Tonight.
And it's tonight, the Broncos and the Chargers, 8:15 on Prime Video. Now, this is where Justin Herbert has to step up. It's in LA, and this is going to be an example of whether or not he's a big game quarterback. What do you think about this matchup? Denver coming in at 9-5 with a chance to lock up a playoff spot. Too tall.
I like the Chargers in this one. I think Harbaugh gonna have him ready. I think he's gonna have him ready to play. I think they're gonna show out. I think it's gonna be a good close game. But I think both. To tell you the truth, I won't be surprised if both quarterbacks play well. But I do like the Chargers have the upper hand in this game, and I think they're gonna come out with a victory in this one.
Stu, your thoughts on Denver and the LA Chargers at SoFi?
I definitely believe it's going to be tough. And Denver is up 21-10 right now as we speak in the second quarter. Chargers going to have to figure out that offense. This is another thing. Like they're going to figure out what's going on offensively. We know the talent that they have, but the thing that they struggle. One of the biggest things, eye openers that I noticed last week is the running game was a little obsolete. They need to figure out how to establish that run, and maybe help out Herbert. Herbert has played a clean game so far. He's 8-9 with 93 yards so far in the second quarter, but 0 touchdowns. The running game is not doing anything. Offensively, the offensive coordinator, they got to figure something out. And usually when you struggle with the run with him, they tend to struggle. And that seems to be the thing that's happening. They got to figure out how to run this ball and open up that playbook a little bit. So hopefully they figure it out. But that Broncos defense is for real. And they're not going nowhere. And with them being up right now and making Herbert have to pass instead of being able to run the ball, that defense gets to pin their ears back and try to get up to the quarterback. So it's going to be tough, and it's going to be an uphill battle. And it's looking like one that Denver is going to win this game.
So we switch over to Saturday's games. Houston and Kansas City, playoff implications abound in this one. 1 p.m. on NBC Peacock. And then at 4:30, it's Pittsburgh at Baltimore on Fox. Playoff implications abounding and this matchup as well. And then on Sunday at 1 o'clock, we've got the Giants and Falcons, the Lions and Bears. This is a game Detroit needs to just go ahead and just pimp slap Chicago and move on. The Browns and the Bengals, Titans and Colts, Rams, Jets, Eagles and Commanders. Too tall. Your thoughts on this pivotal matchup for your Washington Commanders?
I mean, to me, it's a winnable game. I mean, it's a division game. With the big key, I think, because if you go back to the first game, it was a close game until we held Saquon for 3 quarters. We held their offense for 3 quarters, and Saquon got loose in the fourth quarter with like 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
And that's because our defense got tired because we had too many 3-and-outs. So yes. I think that with Lattimore on A.J. Brown, I'm telling you, that's going to be the key. That right there is going to be the key matchup. A.J. Brown and Lattimore. I'm not worried about Barkley. We're going to do good against Barkley. A.J. Brown is the key. And if we could slow down A.J. Brown, I think we're going to be okay, because Jalen, he don't scare me. He never did when we played him. He don't scare me. The only one is A.J. Brown, and I think with Lattimore out there, we're gonna focus on Saquon, and as long as our offense, we get in our bag. Cliff gets in his bag. Offense, we get Jalen comfortable. and we moving the ball, you know, and we putting points on the board, I think we're gonna be okay. And I mean, we could beat the Eagles. We're not scared of the Eagles. I mean, they coming in with all this mojo. They need to be afraid of us because we, for real, we playing with house money because we don't got nothing to lose. Washington has nothing to lose in this game. We playing with house money. All the pressure's on them. So I like our odds in this one, tell you the truth.
Stu, your thoughts on Eagles Commanders Sunday at 1 p.m.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a game. I definitely, I agree with Aaron, man. I think this might be a little different. Lattimore is a huge pickup. I think the mission should be stop Saquon or slow him down. If they're able to contain him, they win this game. I think that, they match up well against Philly. On the outside, Lattimore, he's going to do his thing. I think Jaden Daniels is going to cook. If they can establish the run and play that game, this is going to be a hard-nosed game right here. But I think that it's one that if Washington is able to stop Saquon and not let him go off, as he's been doing all year, keep him under 100 if possible, I think it's one that they can win.
And we finish up the lineup on Sunday with the Vikings going to Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, at 4:05. The Patriots and Bills at 4:25. Jags, Raiders, and 49ers and Dolphins round out the 4:25 games. And then on Sunday Night Football, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Dallas Cowboys. And this is going to be an interesting game in Dallas. I got a feeling the Bucs are going to go in there and just rearrange the furniture. And so, Jerry, I think you should move the Jumbotron over here. Just move the place around. I got Tampa Bay winning with no problem at all in this one. And then on Monday Night Football, my boys are going to be hosting the Saints at Lambeau Field. That's at 8:15 on ABC and ESPN. So that is going to wrap it up, guys. We're going to get out of here. Got some really good matchups coming up. If I had more time, I'd love to talk about the college football playoff, which starts on Saturday. We've got 4 games as we kick off the college football playoff. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody, if you're coming in at the very end and you're like, man, I missed the show, hey, you can always listen to it in its entirety on Spotify, and you can listen to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern on bogradio.fm. If you've enjoyed the conversation, well, like it and share it and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy channel on YouTube. We're going to get out of here. I pray the peace of Jesus Christ be with everybody out there, and Merry Christmas to one and to all. I don't know if we're going to be here next week with the holidays going on. We'll talk about it later. If we have time, we'll get it in. If not, we'll definitely be back the following week. So you guys be blessed, and we'll talk to you maybe next week. God bless.